Humans have long been an integral part of our planet's living world. But what would happen to the world if we suddenly disappeared? After all, the planet we inhabit is subject to global cataclysms, epidemics, terrible diseases, and wars. All of this leads to the idea that sooner or later, humanity may perish. So let's imagine what would happen if, in an instant, all humans on Earth simply disappeared. And how soon after that would all traces of human civilization vanish? Let's take a look at the fantastical future of our planet. One day without people. One day after the disappearance of people from the Earth due to the lack of workers, most power plants will cease to function. As a result, the lights will go out in many parts of the world. But this will not happen everywhere. For example, the generators at the Hoover Dam hydroelectric power plant in Western America are powered by water flow. Such power plants can remain unattended for several months or even years. Las Vegas, which is powered by it, may remain almost the only spot of light visible from space. Wind power plants and solar batteries will also continue to operate for some time, but only until the former run out of lubricant and the latter accumulate a thick layer of dust on their surfaces. As for the subway, for example, in most cities it will be flooded within 36 hours, since without people and electricity, the systems that protect subways from groundwater using pumps will not be able to function.
1 week without people. If we are talking about a world without people, but with animals, then at first, pets will be able to drink water from melted refrigerators or eat uncollected food. But then they would have to leave their former owners' homes or die of starvation. At that point, almost all the food in stores, restaurants, and refrigerators would spoil. Those pets that managed to escape would have to fight for survival. After the power plant shuts down, all sewage treatment plants will cease to function, causing sewage to flow unimpeded into rivers and lakes. City water systems will also fail. Pipes will burst and water will begin to pour out of them. Soon, the asphalt on city roads will crack due to the flow of water. Big Ben's clock will stop forever, as there will be no one to wind it up. And due to the shutdown of air conditioners and fans, for example, all the wax figures in Madame Tussauds will melt. At nuclear power plants, the water that cools the equipment will evaporate. This could lead to numerous accidents and explosions, such as those at the Chernobyl and Fukushima 1 nuclear power plants, causing serious damage to our planet's environment.
1 month without people. After a month, many cities located below sea level and protected from nearby rivers and lakes by dams and embankments will be partially or completely flooded. For example, the dams in Rotterdam will become unusable. Sooner or later, a storm will occur and flood the city. The world's largest airports, such as John F. Kennedy Airport, Heathrow, Domodedovo, and others, will begin to grow over with grass, and ice will accumulate on Alaskan cruise ships, which will soon begin to capsize. By this time, the batteries of almost all mobile phones should be dead.
6 months without people. After 6 months without people, the wild animal population will begin to grow rapidly and fill the abandoned cities. Small wild animals such as coyotes and lynxes, which usually avoid cities, will begin to populate suburban areas, which will also become grazing grounds for deer. Then larger predators will appear: pumas, wolves, and bears. Rats and mice, for example, will consume all edible supplies and leave the cities.
1 year without humans. Cities will gradually turn into islands of jungle. Grass and shrubs will begin to grow in the cracks in the streets, on the walls and roofs of buildings. Due to dampness, water-soaked wooden structures will attract termites and ants, which will contribute to the destruction of the wood. Around this time, all living creatures in the Audubon Aquarium complex in New Orleans will die. A year later, the aforementioned Hoover Dam will stop generating electricity after mollusks clog the cooling pipes. Las Vegas will be plunged into darkness. Due to the rope breaking, all cargo ships will leave their ports and set sail. The first collision of any ship with a bridge will result in its sinking. A little later, the International Space Station will also be destroyed. Since there will be no one to correct its orbit, the ISS will gradually descend. Sooner or later, the station will fall to Earth and burn up, like some other satellites.
10 years without people.
Most of the urban areas will be covered with vegetation consisting of vines, grass, and tree sprouts. A layer of soil will form on Red Square in Moscow, and thick grass will grow, turning the square completely green. Many abandoned cities will also suffer greatly from forest fires over the course of 10 years. For example, the city of Sacramento in California will be so flooded that planes at the airport will be washed away by waves and begin to crash into buildings, leading to the destruction of the city. 25 years without people, Washington will become a swampy place, and the Lincoln Memorial, the Pillars of the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, the gates of Buckingham Palace, and other structures will be overgrown with vegetation. Lions, tigers, rhinos, and other animals that have managed to adapt and survive will settle in the abandoned streets of some cities. Most household items will be destroyed by time. Household appliances will become unusable due to dust and rust. Clothes and shoes will decay, and photographs and banknotes will be eaten away by microorganisms.
50 years without people. By this time, many wooden structures will either burn down, rot, or be destroyed by termites. Trees and vines will grow in brick and stone buildings. Earthen dams will begin to collapse due to the spread of eroded areas. In many cities located in seismic fault zones, such as Los Angeles, earthquakes may occur, destroying the remaining human settlements in those cities.
100 years without humans. Most cars will turn into piles of metal, but those cars located in dry climates will suffer less damage and will still be recognizable. For example, rubber tires and tires that were deflated many years ago will not decompose for many centuries. Large bridges, such as the Golden Gate Bridge or the Brooklyn Bridge, will collapse due to corrosion of the supporting cables. Most man-made structures will be destroyed within the next 300 years. Many streets with subway tunnels underneath will collapse and turn into flooded canals. A third of the world's skyscrapers will be destroyed. Most buildings will be taken over by plants and animals, and the city will look more like a wilderness. 200 years without people. Corrosion, rampant plant growth, and damage to the foundations by groundwater will destroy the remaining buildings. Corrosion will also destroy the last remaining cars. But in America, in the state of Texas, there is a monument called Cadillac Ranch. It consists of 10 vintage Cadillac cars, dug into the ground with their noses and lined up in a row. Thanks to the paint that artists supplied to these 10 cars, they will be preserved better than any others on the planet. As for wooden buildings, they will also disappear by that time.
300 years without people. Cities built on marshy ground, such as Washington, St. Petersburg, Amsterdam, London, and others, will begin to sink beneath the water. All modern information carriers that store human culture, such as laser discs, photographic film, paper, and the like, will turn to dust. Corrosion will spare neither the Eiffel Tower, nor skyscrapers, nor dams.
1,000 years without humans. Most modern cities will be covered with greenery, and collapsed skyscrapers and buildings will become new hills. Manhattan Island will return to its former appearance, before human settlement, with numerous streams and lakes. There will be almost no evidence of human civilization left. Buildings and structures made of massive stones or thick concrete will suffer the least damage. For example, the Egyptian pyramids, the Great Wall of China, or medieval castles. But earthquakes will destroy even concrete structures. The Taj Mahal, for example, was built in a seismic area of India. In 10 centuries, an earthquake with a magnitude of 5 will completely destroy it. The Colosseum, already overgrown from the inside, could also be destroyed by any earthquake. And on Easter Island, there will most likely also be a powerful earthquake that will destroy the legendary statues located there. Nothing will remain where Paris once stood. However, the Venus de Milo, made of marble, will survive for several thousand years, as marble is considered one of the most durable materials.
10,000 years without humans. By this time, almost all reminders that humans were once the crown of nature will have disappeared. Only a few stone structures will remain. Among them are the Pyramids of Giza, almost completely covered by desert sand, and fragments of the Great Wall of China. The faces carved into Mount Rushmore will remain untouched for hundreds of thousands of years, and only by them will it be possible to determine that civilization once existed on Earth.
Many millions of years without humans. Almost all traces of humans will disappear
and only fossilized skeletons in mountain rocks will remind us of their former existence. The remains of spaceships and satellite debris will continue to fly through space as the only reminder of human civilization.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think humanity could really disappear from Earth one day?